We will be conducting tonight's meeting in person here in City Council chambers as well as virtually using Zoom. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting tonight on Wave Channel 18 and online through the city's YouTube channel. The mayor will begin the meeting momentarily.
Heck yeah. I know. Hey, I said that if we have to have a meeting on Halloween, we're going to do it in costume. Okay. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. Welcome to the October 31st, 2022 special meeting, City of Lincoln, City Council Redevelopment Successor Agency, Public Financing Authority. Call this meeting to order. City Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Yes, Councilmember Carl Skint.
Here.
Councilmember Lauritsen.
Here.
Councilmember Silhai. Here. And Mayor Andriotta.
Here. Thank you. Okay. Item number 2, public comment. Any public comment on non-agenda items since there's nobody in the council chamber? Anybody? You have a public comment? Would you like to say something? Okay. Anybody on Zoom?
No,
Okay.
nobody's on Zoom.
All right, no public comment. Then we will move directly to the reason why we are here. Public hearing 3A, conduct a public hearing to receive public testimony and adopt resolutions 2022-243 and 2022-244, approving the amendment to the standard agreement between the City of Lincoln and the California Department of Housing and Community Development, number 20 CDBG CV2 300237. Dated October 26, 2021, and 20 CDBG CV2 300238, dated October 22nd, 2021, respectively. The standard agreements represent awards from applications approved by City Council Resolution 2021-58 and submitted by the city in response to the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program. Coronavirus response rounds 2 and 3. Notice of funding availability dated December 18th, 2022. And our finance director, Anita Racker, is going to give us the update. Thank you.
Good evening. I just wanted to thank everyone for taking a few minutes to be here Halloween evening. I promise to be as brief as possible. As the mayor indicated, the city received these 2 grant awards in September of last year. The grants were provided to the city for micro assistance business grants or micro assistance grants and business grants. However, the city faced numerous challenges with implementing these grant programs. Not the least includes multiple regulation changes by HUD and the HCD, the Housing and Community Development Department, as well as the loss of our program implementator, including or as a result of one of the changes of the regulations. And so after some significant research, we've decided that we can't implement the programs as they were originally designed. So we began looking for an alternative way to utilize these funds to benefit our community. And one of the areas that we felt would receive the most benefit from this is our low to middle income seniors, including the senior center over on H Street. So these funds do have to have a COVID nexus. So in looking at that senior center on H Street, we designed or are in the process of designing an outdoor eating area that would be used year round and covered, as well as a drive up or drive-by meal pickup station. It's really hard to look at you, council members, so it keeps a straight face. So in order to repurpose these funds, we have to submit an amendment. The amendments have to be submitted by midnight tonight, which is October 31st, 2022, which is the reason we're here. And in addition to that, conduct a public hearing to take public input, comments, or suggestions on these 2 activities, changing from the micro enterprise assistance program and the business assistance program to an outdoor eating area and a drive-up meal pickup location. And with that, I would ask that you open the public hearing, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so I think we'll open the public hearing, see if there's any testimony, and if not, then we'll come back to the council, okay? So public hearing is open. Any comment on Zoom?
We do have one person on Zoom, Clara. I'll unmute. Clara, if you'd like to ask a question, please unmute yourself.
I didn't raise my hand. I'm very sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
She doesn't have, okay, so you don't have a
Okay.
comment? Okay, she raised her hand on accident. Okay, all right. Seeing no testimony, close public hearing, bring it back to council. Questions, comments?
I have a comment as usual and a goal tonight to make sure that Holly doesn't beat my time as the fastest city council meeting. So the question I have, these problems came up after we submitted our grants. Our understanding of that it wasn't feasible.
Yeah,
Okay.
the grants were originally accepted by interim city manager Mark Scott. And after the grants were awarded, the council or many cities and counties in the country received ARPA awards. And one of the thresholds for these funds is they can't be used for anything else for which there is another funding source. So there's a lot more money to be given that's easier to be utilized for the same purpose as these grants. So that became a big hurdle.
In addition, I think the other thing that's really important is the change in rules about how we can outsource this work to folks that, because one of the things it's mentioned in the report is for some of these grant dollars, these are loans. Oh boy. So they're potentially forgivable loans. And so there's a process involved. And we did spend quite a bit of time trying to find somebody that was certified and had the appropriate professional liability insurance to run them. And they all have a full plate of work. So we're worried about that.
You just had to chime in so that the cameras could.
Yeah.
The reason I asked, because we specifically 2 or 3, maybe 4 years ago, put a policy in place so that the grants before they came before council were vetted in that they didn't take an exorbitant amount of time or, because of where the match was going to be onerous, so that the grant was really truly beneficial to the city. So my assumption, and you just verified it, is they changed the game after we submitted them.
Yeah, and so that's why these grants included funds for a program implementer and the consultant that Sean was referring to. He was going to do all the work. He was going to market it. He was going to outreach. He was going to assist businesses with the application. He was going to be the loan closer, the processor, the funder, where really the city would be writing the checks after he did all of the legwork. But as a result of the changes, he can't get the liability insurance required in order, and he's not a California lender. So he's just not eligible to do this for us.
Okay, that was the only question.
Comment? No?
No, I was briefed by Sean this morning, so
Okay.
I'm happy.
Well, I think if we can use it for the senior center, that's great. If it doesn't put too much burden on staff, then I'm good with that. Yep.
And just to be clear, so the camera come back to us, that I want to be just really transparent that this is a very challenging timeline that we're under. And so we're going to do everything that we can to expend them. We have to pretty much have them expended by October of essentially a year from now.
Okay.
And we think we made the project small enough that we think that we could get it done in that timeframe. So.
But there are still a lot of hurdles, not the least of which is getting this amendment approved. We do have to do NEPA and CEQA on the site, which takes a bit of time. So I'm hopeful that once we submit this, I'll be reaching out to the grant administrator to talk about how we can move forward with NEPA prior to the amendment being approved. Acknowledging that it could be possible that any funds we expend before the amendment is approved could be on the city.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also just feel like as few comments as we can possibly make by dress like this, the better.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve the resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Thank you. Councilmember Silhai,
Yes.
Councilmember Lauritsen,
Yes.
Councilmember Carl Skint,
Yes.
and Mayor Andriana.
Yes. Does anybody have council initiated business?
Yes. as a matter of fact. I have 3 items.
I bet you do.
So I was done, just so we're clear. I made this really short.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
And I don't know whether these are items to be covered in a regular meeting, a workshop, or if we deign to have a kickoff year strategy session. The first one is, I think we need to discuss the method of surveying the community for significant items. And we have, I think, a bunch of significant items facing us this year, such as the lighting and landscaping districts. What do we do with that? The airport, what do we do with that? So that's the first thing. We want to discuss that or just go to the next one?
Well, I do have it planned generally for January and maybe even just early February, a strategic planning session, because, after being here for 8-9 months now, it would be really helpful, I think, to staff to have us relook at our priorities and really make clear what you want us spending our resources, and more importantly, what you don't think are priorities right now.
The second item is, I think, that we definitely need to establish it because of the renewed interest in the airport. I think we need to establish our policy on the airport, what we want it to be from a policy standpoint. So that again is a healthy discussion item. Any comments on that one? Really about 2.
Look at you.
The third item is I happen to, I'll start out. It's bothered me the number of traffic safety discussions that we've had brought up in public comment. And I was talking with a council member from a neighboring city the other night. And they have implemented something that we de-implemented about 6 years ago. Before I was on, so it's longer than that, 8 years ago. We used to have a public traffic safety committee that met quarterly that addressed the issues with the community surrounding traffic safety. And they were faced with the same problem. We disbanded that when they did the reorganization of all the committees. Rockland was faced with the same thing that we're facing. And their decision was to institute that same type of committee. And so it's been operational now for, I think, for 9 months, 10 months. And she said it worked, it's working very well. So I'd like to have a discussion on that, determining what the committee looks like. Obviously, it has to contain staff as well as maybe elected or not, but to discuss those items in more depth than we can give them in a city council meeting. And
So basically
more
to-
attention,
To reestablish that
reestablish a committee.
big committee on
Right.
traffic.
You know
The
why
last
they-
one
Do you
had,
know why they got rid of it?
I was gonna ask
Why
the
did we
same
get rid of
question.
yeah. The committee consisted of 2 council people and the public, I think, public services director at that time. I don't think that's the right combination. I think,
Oh, it wasn't
It
like a
ain't-
resident committee. It was just a,
no, it wasn't
Oh,
a
I see.
resident committee and it it didn't have, as far as I know, the police weren't involved and they're obviously involved.
that
Um,
seems like a misstep.
At that time, the other problem was committees were not being, no minutes were kept. And there was no public discussion in the council of what the committee decided or not, or what they recommended. So, like, that's why they did the whole reorganization. So,
Yeah, I'm good with bringing that to a discussion. and Looking at that. Okay. All right, anything else? Yeah.
no, that's fine. I'm done.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned. That's his little Halloween.